My new blog is Group Psychotherapy Inherently Unethical is getting some very interesting responses. It's controversial, and I think it's not clearly understood, so I wanted to comment on some of the reactions that I've been getting. For one, someone had written, "I find your argument unrealistic. In this day and age, even knowing someone's first name can produce their identity. Telling members not to Google each other is like telling them not to think about a pink elephant. Focusing on the here and now is essential, but being or not being able to give some background is not workable." The point of the blog was that without confidentiality, group psychotherapy is at best diluted and at worst it's contaminated. The fact is that there are two kinds of breaches of confidentiality, at least anyway. One has to do with some members' own personalities. They get some pleasure in finding out about the other members through their Google and other internet activities. They have a secret, a guilty secret about what they know. That in and of itself is not really a problem. It's grist for the mill, in fact. Group therapist's responsibility is to help these members talk about why they need that kind of information and how they plan to use it, even if it's just in their own fantasy. But the more dangerous to the treatment type of breach of confidentiality is when it's built into the treatment. By that I mean when people have outside the group contact as part of their personal lives, as in the case of dual relationships. Now, in some contexts, that's inevitable. If people live in a small town, for example, they're bound to have contact with other people in the group. But there are certain kinds of situations, such as in a group training institute, where people's relationships with each other are much more complicated. They have all types of outside the group contact. They could be friends, they could be relatives, even certainly colleagues. That kind of built-in breach of confidentiality makes the treatment almost unworkable because it's impossible for the leader to know how much of people's negative reactions to each other based on their past history or on the interactions themselves in the moment. Here's another comment that I'd like to address. Confidentiality is an illusion. Attempts by the therapist to enforce the rules only leads to more acting out. Once again, there seems to be some confusion here. Group leaders expect that members will default on the contract. If the leader says that there's no outside contact, that doesn't necessarily mean that the group is in trouble. What it means is that the leader needs to address what is the unspoken message to the leader about not following the rules. It's part of the therapist's work to help people say how they feel towards each other and why they feel that way. The job of the therapist only includes acting as an enforcer of the rules when the acting out threatens either the integrity of the group or the emotional well-being of members. The most efficient kind of group therapy focuses on here and now behavior, which is not to suggest, however, that members do not bring in emotionally charged material from their personal lives. Of course, that's an aspect of the group process. The group can provide in those moments a source of support, comfort, and understanding. However, it is my belief that the major focus of the group should be on the here and now.